Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel, I hope. Everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Jenn Tran reveals Devin Strader's red flags she ignored. When you're in a relationship, you rarely see the red flags from your partner. They only become clear after the breakup. Bachelorette Jenn Tran opened up about the red flags in her relationship with Devin Strader that she ignored. Keep reading for more. Strange question, he asked producers after engagement. Jenn Tran had an expansive two-part podcast appearance on the Bachelor Happy Hour podcast earlier this week. She looked back at her relationship with Bachelorette suitor Devin Strader. The two got engaged on the season finale, but revealed on After the Final Rose that they split last month, roughly 2 months after their engagement happened during filming the reality show. One major red flag she ignored was Devin's question for producers the day after their engagement. He allegedly asked them how long couples from the show stay together. Looking back, Jenn Tran now thinks that was a weird question to ask. She also claimed that during their engagement, his feelings started to change toward her. Devin Strader regretted not quitting Bachelorette early. While Devin Strader was open about dropping the L word to Jenn Tran during the show, he almost left when she didn't say it back. According to Jenn Tran, Devin later brought that up during their arguments and wondered if he should have left The Bachelorette early. She previously said during the ATFR that he admitted regretting getting engaged. Cryptic texts sparked breakup. Devin Strader posted a video this week to share his side of the story. His post included a look at the texts he exchanged with Jenn Tran during their brief time together. However, that wasn't the first time he leaked their intimate conversations. Shortly after the season finale aired, he posted and quickly deleted a screenshot of one of their texts. He wrote in the text message that Jenn Tran threatened to break up with him several times before he ultimately broke up with her. She said on the podcast that the breakup happened during a 2-minute phone call after he sent a cryptic text earlier in the day about needing to talk the next day. According to Jenn Tran, Devin then watched an episode of The Bachelorette with his family. Rattled by his text, she insisted they talk on the phone, and that is presumably when he dumped her. How she got closure. Jenn Tran got closure on the relationship in an unexpected way. Photos surfaced online after the finale of Devin hanging out with an ex after breaking up with Jenn. Jenn Tran, the vivacious and adventurous former Bachelorette, had always been known for her magnetic charm and infectious smile. Her journey to find love in front of millions captured the hearts of viewers. But behind that effervescent exterior was a woman who had battled inner doubts and ignored flashing red lights, especially when it came to her whirlwind romance with Devin Strader. Months had passed since her public breakup with Devin, and as Jenn sat down in a cozy, sunlit cafe for an exclusive interview, she looked more at ease than ever. She had come to terms with her past, her missteps, and most importantly, the red flags that, in retrospect, were glaringly obvious but overlooked in the heat of passion. The world may have seen her as a woman in love, but Jenn was now ready to peel back the layers and reveal the truth behind her relationship with Devin Strader, a truth she had hidden not only from her fans but from herself. The beginning? A spark too bright. Looking back, I realized that everything started off like a sparkler on the 4th of July. Bright, loud, and burning too fast. Devin had this charisma that was intoxicating, the kind of guy who walked into a room and every head turned. I think I was just as much in love with the idea of him as I was with the actual person. Jenn began, her voice soft but steady. In those early days, Devin had been nothing short of perfect. Lavish dates, surprise gifts, and an ability to make Jenn feel like the only woman in the world. It was a whirlwind romance, and the pace at which things moved felt exhilarating, until it didn't. I guess the first red flag was how fast things escalated, Jenn admitted, twirling the ring on her index finger. It was like he had this ability to convince me we were meant to be together forever, right from the start. And who doesn't want to believe in a love story that feels like fate? But the speed at which things moved should have been my first warning. Devin had pushed for exclusivity only weeks into their relationship, and Jenn, caught up in the whirlwind, agreed. It seemed romantic at the time, until the honeymoon phase ended and the cracks began to show. Isolation. The quiet sabotage. Jenn's eyes grew distant as she continued. The next red flag. He started subtly isolating me from my friends and family, but it wasn't like those dramatic stories you hear about where the guy tells you not to see your friends. It was more insidious. Devin's tactics were far from overt. Instead of direct commands, he planted seeds of doubt. He would make sly comments about her friends being envious or question the loyalty of those closest to her. Jenn began to believe that maybe, just maybe, Devin was right. Slowly, her social circle shrank, and the world outside of Devin started to feel less significant. At the time, I thought it was just because he wanted me all to himself. I mistook that kind of possessiveness for love. But love isn't about controlling someone's world. It's about being a part of it while still allowing them to be themselves. And that's where Devin and I went wrong. The gaslighting game. A tangle of emotions. As the relationship progressed, Jenn noticed that every disagreement, every moment of doubt, was turned on her. What started as small differences of opinion slowly escalated into Devin twisting Jenn's words, making her question her own feelings. I would express concerns, and somehow, by the end of the conversation, I was the one apologizing, Jenn said, shaking her head at the memory. Devin had this way of making me feel like I was being irrational or dramatic. If I ever questioned his actions or felt hurt by something, he'd flip the script so smoothly, I'd walk away feeling guilty for even bringing it up. This subtle manipulation left Jenn second-guessing her own intuition. Even when things felt off, she couldn't quite put her finger on why. The constant emotional tug-of-war took a toll, leaving her feeling mentally drained and emotionally confused. It wasn't until after we broke up that I realized I had been gaslighted. It's scary how subtle it can be. One day you're confident in who you are, and the next you're doubting your every move. The image. A man obsessed with perception. Another red flag, Jenn revealed, was Devin's obsession with how they were perceived as a couple. To the outside world, they were the perfect pair, smiling for every camera, holding hands at every event, and making the rounds on social media like a modern-day fairy tale. But behind closed doors, things were far from perfect. I used to joke that Devin was more in love with the idea of us than he was with me. Everything had to look picture perfect. If we had a fight before an event, we still had to go and act like nothing happened. It was exhausting, Jenn recalled. He was obsessed with making sure our relationship looked like something straight out of a movie. But real love isn't about appearances.